For decades, air pollution was the obvious villain, a dark cloud hanging over our cities and our health. It was a problem we could see, taste, and feel. Smoggy skies choked our cities, leading to sick lungs, a rise in respiratory illnesses, and tragically millions of premature deaths each year. The impact was undeniable and demanded immediate action. The solution seemed simple, almost intuitive. Clean the air, scrub away the pollutants, and restore the atmosphere to its natural state. In places like China, facing some of the worst air pollution on the planet, ambitious environmental policies were enacted, and we did just that. Skies turned blue, a visible testament to the power of environmental action, and public health improved dramatically, with fewer respiratory problems and a greater sense of well-being for millions. People could breathe easier, children could play outside without fear, and life expectancy began to rise. But in our victory, as we celebrated cleaner skies and healthier lives, we uncovered a paradox, a hidden complexity in the Earth's climate system. The pollution we fought so hard to eliminate, the very particles we were scrubbing from the air, was also, unexpectedly, helping to keep the planet cool, acting as a temporary shield against the sun's rays. By burning fossil fuels, we released both greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide that trap heat and drive global warming, and tiny particles called aerosols that reflect sunlight away from the Earth, creating a cooling effect. These two effects partially canceled each other out, creating a complex and often misunderstood balance, masking the true extent of global warming and giving us a false sense of security about the speed at which the planet was heating up. Now, as we clear the air, removing those sunlight-reflecting particles, the full force of the warming we've caused, the warming that was previously hidden, is being revealed with alarming speed. Since 2010, global temperatures have accelerated at an unprecedented rate, outpacing many climate model predictions, leaving scientists scrambling to understand the full implications. A key reason for this acceleration? The dramatic reduction in aerosol pollution, especially in rapidly industrializing nations like China. Cleaning up the air, while essential for public health, inadvertently removed one of our last dirty defenses against the relentless onslaught of solar radiation. The result? A world warming faster than ever before, pushing the boundaries of our climate models and our understanding, pushing us closer to dangerous climate tipping points, thresholds beyond which irreversible and catastrophic changes become inevitable. We set out to solve air pollution, a noble and necessary goal, only to discover we'd inadvertently intensified another crisis, accelerating the pace of global warming. The cleaner air we now breathe, the healthier lives we now lead, has come at a cost, a hidden price we are only now beginning to fully understand. A faster, more furious warming of our world, leading to more extreme weather events, rising sea levels, and a host of other climate-related challenges. The path forward, the solutions we seek, are far more complex and nuanced than we ever imagined, demanding a deeper understanding of the intricate connections within our planet's climate system. Air pollution, a pervasive consequence of industrial activity, has always been deadly. From the dawn of the Industrial Revolution, the byproducts of our progress have been silently attacking our health. It's a major trigger, causing asthma and other respiratory illnesses, particularly in vulnerable populations like children and the elderly. Beyond respiratory issues, air pollution significantly contributes to heart disease, strokes, and a host of other cardiovascular problems, leading to millions of deaths each year. The statistics are staggering, painting a grim picture of the health consequences. Recognizing the immense harm, the imperative to reduce it was clear, sparking environmental movements and driving policy changes worldwide. But these same toxic particles, often invisible to the naked eye, called aerosols, released from factories, vehicles, and power plants, had a hidden effect, a complex and previously underestimated impact on the global climate. Unbeknownst to many, they acted like a planetary sunshade, shielding us, at least temporarily, from the full force of the sun's rays. Sulfate aerosols, in particular, a common byproduct of burning fossil fuels, reflected sunlight back into space, preventing some of the sun's energy from reaching the Earth's surface, effectively cooling the planet. This global dimming effect, while detrimental to human health, masked much of the warming from greenhouse gases, creating a deceptive illusion of slower climate change. Aerosols also made clouds brighter and more reflective, enhancing their ability to bounce sunlight back into space. This indirect effect further amplified their cooling power, adding another layer of complexity to the climate equation. For decades, this devil's bargain, this Faustian pact with pollution, meant we were essentially poisoning ourselves to slow the planet's fever, a desperate measure with unforeseen consequences. It kept the true pace of warming hidden, obscuring the urgency of addressing greenhouse gas emissions. Scientists knew aerosols cooled the planet, but the magnitude of this effect and its implications for future warming were not fully understood. As it turns out, they underestimated how quickly their removal would unmask the underlying warming, revealing the true extent of the climate crisis. As we clean the air, driven by concerns for public health and environmental sustainability, the mask is coming off, and the hidden warming is beginning to surface. The bill for our temporary reprieve is coming due, and we are now facing the consequences of decades of obscured climate change. The cooling effect was always temporary, a short-term fix that masked a much larger problem. Now, with cleaner air, a welcome improvement for human health, the true scale of the climate crisis is being revealed, demanding immediate and decisive action. The devil's bargain is over, and we must now confront the full reality of a warming world. In the early 2010s, China faced an environmental crisis of unprecedented scale. Air pollution had reached levels that were not only hazardous, but also visibly choking major cities. The thick smog became a symbol of rapid industrialization outpacing environmental safeguards. Smoggy cities like Beijing and Shanghai were often shrouded in a gray haze, leading to grounded flights and significant disruptions in daily life. Visibility was severely reduced, impacting transportation and commerce. The health consequences were devastating, with over 1 million premature deaths each year attributed to air pollution-related illnesses. Hospitals were overwhelmed with patients suffering from respiratory ailments. Recognizing the severity of the situation, the government responded with a massive top-down campaign, unprecedented in its scale and ambition. It was a national priority, demanding immediate and effective action. This included the implementation of strict emissions standards for industries, forcing factories to adopt cleaner technologies or face closure. The nation also invested heavily in cleaner energy sources, such as solar and wind power, to reduce reliance on coal-fired power plants. Billions were invested in air quality monitoring, research, and the development of innovative environmental technologies. The commitment was substantial and unwavering. The results were dramatic and almost immediate. Between 2013 and 2021, fine particulate pollution, specifically PM2.5 concentrations in Chinese cities dropped by over 40%, a remarkable achievement in a relatively short period. In Beijing, the change was particularly noticeable, with pollution levels falling by more than half, transforming the city's skyline. Blue skies returned, becoming a common sight once again, and public health indicators began to improve, reflecting the positive impact of cleaner air. This was a monumental achievement, saving hundreds of thousands of lives annually and improving the quality of life for millions more. But there was an unforeseen global side effect to this success story. The primary pollutant removed from the atmosphere was sulfate aerosol, the very particle most effective at reflecting sunlight back into space and thus cooling the planet. As China's smokestacks were scrubbed clean, the planetary sunshade over East Asia, which had been deflecting solar radiation, began to dissipate, allowing more sunlight to reach the surface. The rapid removal of these cooling aerosols unleashed a pulse of warming that was felt worldwide, contributing to rising global temperatures. The skies cleared, offering a respite from pollution, but the climate began to heat up at an accelerated rate, presenting new challenges. China's remarkable success in cleaning its air inadvertently became a catalyst for global temperature acceleration, highlighting the complex interconnectedness of environmental issues. The world is now grappling with the unintended consequences of this environmental victory, facing the challenge of balancing clean air with the urgent need to mitigate global warming. The price of clean air, it seems, is a hotter planet, a stark reminder of the intricate web of cause and effect in our global ecosystem. Aerosols are tiny particles suspended in the air, many of them human-made, especially sulfates from burning coal. These particles act like microscopic mirrors, reflecting sunlight back into space and directly cooling the planet. For decades, our industrial haze offset some of the warming from greenhouse gases. But aerosols also have an indirect effect. They make clouds brighter and more reflective by increasing the number of tiny droplets. Brighter clouds bounce even more solar energy away, amplifying the cooling. This cloud brightening effect is even more powerful than the direct scattering of sunlight. By polluting the air, we made our clouds better at reflecting sunlight. When we remove these particles, we lose both the tiny mirrors and the brighter clouds. The result, less sunlight reflected, more heat absorbed, and a faster warming planet. Cleaning the air removes both layers of this accidental planetary sunshade. The dual loss accelerates global warming. The global temperature record shows a sharp acceleration since 2010. Nearly every year in the past decade has been among the hottest ever recorded. This surge outpaced many climate model projections, prompting scientists to search for answers. The timeline matches China's rapid reduction of sulfate aerosols. As the atmospheric sunshade disappeared, the climate system was exposed to more solar energy. The warming that had been masked by pollution was suddenly unleashed. The effect was global, with oceans absorbing most of the excess heat and fueling extreme weather. The recent temperature spike is the climate system catching up to the true impact of our emissions. Cleaner air has revealed the full force of global warming. The link between cleaner air and faster warming is backed by science. Climate models run with and without the recent drop in aerosols show a clear pattern: less pollution, more warming, especially in the northern hemisphere. Some studies suggest up to 80% of the recent acceleration is due to aerosol reduction. Satellite data confirms it. Earth's reflectivity has dropped, especially over East Asia, meaning more solar energy is being absorbed. The timing and location of these changes match the areas where pollution was cut most dramatically. Multiple lines of evidence, models, temperature records, and satellite observations tell the same story. The science is clear. Cleaning the air has unmasked a more rapid warming trend. The planet is heating up faster because our skies are cleaner. For years, climate sensitivity, the planet's response to CO2, seemed lower than models predicted. The reason? Aerosol pollution was masking the true effect. Now, as aerosols disappear, the climate's real sensitivity is revealed. The recent surge in warming shows the world is as sensitive to greenhouse gases as scientists feared. The antidote of aerosols is gone, and the full potency of CO2 is on display. Higher-end climate projections are looking more likely. The removal of the aerosol mask hasn't changed the physics, just what we observe. This clarity demands urgent action to cut emissions. The fact that cleaning our air accelerates warming is a daunting challenge, but it's not a reason to stop. Clean air saves lives. The solution isn't to bring pollution back, but to fight on two fronts: air quality and climate change. We must keep scrubbing toxic pollutants while rapidly cutting greenhouse gas emissions. The temporary cooling from aerosols bought us time. That time is up. The only way to slow warming now is to stop emitting heat-trapping gases. Air pollution control and climate action are inseparable. The best solutions, like switching to renewables, address both problems at once. Every year we delay, we lock in more warming and risk crossing dangerous tipping points. The urgency is real. We need a full-scale transition to clean energy now. The goal is clear air and a livable planet. The story of aerosols and accelerated warming is about our distorted sense of risk. For decades, pollution gave us a false sense of security, a toxic grace period that's now over. The recent temperature spike reveals we're much closer to dangerous climate thresholds than we thought. Limiting warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius is now even harder. The remaining carbon budget may be smaller than we realized. The extreme weather we're seeing is the result of warming that's already happened. This new understanding must drive urgent action, not despair. The only logical path: keep cleaning the air and cut emissions radically and immediately. The choice is stark: a rapid transition to sustainability or climate chaos. The cleaner skies above us are a warning.